You are not here by accident. Something or someone has pulled you toward this message. And in the next few minutes, you will either awaken or miss a truth so deep, your soul may cry for lifetimes. Archangel Michael has spoken. They are sleeping, he says, and the world is crumbling because they've forgotten who they are. You've felt it, haven't you? That quiet ache at 3 a.m., the silence that screams louder than noise, the feeling that you were meant for more, but can't remember what more even is anymore. There's a reason you feel so tired, even after rest. A reason nothing feels quite real anymore. It's not depression. It's not burnout. It's soul fatigue. You've been drifting in a world that wants you numb, distracted, tamed, but something inside you refused to be silenced. This message is not for everyone, but if your chest is heavy, your eyes are watering for no reason, and your heart just whispered, "Stay," then you're the one Archangel Michael was talking about. He warns, there is a darkness feeding on their forgetfulness, and those who do not remember the light will be consumed by it. What's coming next will break you open, but sometimes the breaking is how the light gets in. Yes, this message will make some cry, but those tears, they're sacred. They're not weakness, they're the moment your soul remembers. This isn't just a video. It's a spiritual alarm clock sent to your life by something higher. If you feel chills right now, it's not coincidence, it's recognition. Archangel Michael says, few will hear this and stay. Many will scroll past and suffer the echo of a life they were meant to change. But not you. You're still here, and that means your time has come. Your soul has waited lifetimes for this remembering. So pause, breathe, let every word enter you, and know this. If peace, protection, and truth is what you seek, you've found the source. Stay, listen, return here when the world gets loud. There was a time before you were broken, before you were distracted, before the world made you forget, when you knew why you were here. You may not remember it now, but your soul does. Before the noise, before the survival mode, before the heartbreak, before the loneliness, there was a calling inside you, a divine assignment, a mission written in light long before you were born. But somewhere along the way, the world got loud, the pain got heavy, the distractions multiplied, and what was once crystal clear began to fade. You were taught to survive, not to feel, to obey, not to remember, to chase money, not meaning, and slowly, silently, something sacred inside you went quiet. You stopped dreaming, you stopped hearing, and you started running from yourself. The worst part, no one told you it was happening. No alarms, no warnings, just silence, deepening, numbing, stealing your fire day by day, and yet that calling never left you. It stayed, buried beneath the surface, like a heartbeat you forgot to notice. Archangel Michael says this is not your fault. The system was designed to make you forget. But now, the veil is lifting, and the reason you've been feeling off, the reason nothing fully satisfies you, the reason your heart aches even when everything should be fine, is because your soul is knocking, again. And this time you can't ignore it. The whispers are becoming screams. You're feeling drawn to videos like this, messages like this, energies like this, not because it's trendy, but because your inner compass is reactivating. You are remembering pieces of yourself you thought were lost, and it's both terrifying and beautiful. Your forgotten calling is not gone. It's been waiting, dormant, sleeping beneath the scars, the noise, the chaos, waiting for the moment you'd be still enough to hear again. And now you are. You were always meant to be a light in this world, a bridge between dimensions, a soul with memory and mission. But to carry that out, you must remember who you were before the world told you who to be. You must unlearn the lies. The lie that you are small, the lie that you are broken, the lie that you're too late. You're not. You are exactly on time. And this message is part of your activation. The ache you feel is your assignment calling. It's not a flaw, it's a flame. And if you follow it, your entire life will change. This channel is not a coincidence. It's a spiritual lifeline, A place where voices like Michael's can reach you again, where peace is not just an idea, it's a frequency. And the more you tune in, the more you'll remember. Every return here is a return to yourself, a reunion with the divine inside you. Do you remember how sensitive you used to be as a child? How you could feel other people's pain? How you cried at things others ignored? That wasn't weakness. That was your gift, your intuition, your light. But they told you to toughen up, to grow up, to shut it down, and maybe you did, for years. But now, it's coming back. Because the time is now, the earth is shifting, the energy is rising, and souls like yours are waking up everywhere. But waking up isn't comfortable, it's messy, emotional, lonely even. That's why this space exists. That's why you were guided here, so you don't have to do it alone. Because when you forget your calling, you suffer. But when you remember, you come alive. Your life starts to flow. Your body begins to heal. You attract who and what is meant for you. And everything begins to make sense again. Archangel Michael whispers, "You are not broken. You are remembering." And that remembrance comes in waves. Through words, through signs, through messages like this. Right now your heart might be pounding. Your eyes may be full. That's not just emotion. That's resonance. Truth waking something ancient within you. This isn't just a video, it's a doorway. And when you walk through it, things begin to shift. Your relationships, your energy, your choices, your power, all of it begins to align with something greater. But only if you listen, only if you remember, only if you choose to return, not just to this video, but to your truth. This calling didn't leave you. You left it, but it never stopped loving you. Never stopped waiting. So take a deep breath. Feel that pull inside. That's not anxiety. That's alignment. That's your higher self clapping for you, because you finally heard it, finally paused, finally answered. And if this is making your heart feel strangely at home, you're not alone. You're returning, and your soul is finally being heard. Not all messages from heaven come wrapped in light and comfort. Some arrive with thunder in their voice, with urgency in their wings, with a holy kind of fear. Archangel Michael does not speak lightly. When he moves, it means the heavens have shifted, and his warning now is simple. Time is running out for those who refuse to wake up. He says the world is entering a spiritual famine, not of food, but of truth. Souls are being lost, not to death, but to forgetfulness. They are trading eternity for convenience, divinity for dopamine, truth for noise. His sword is not just a weapon, it's a signal, a line drawn in the invisible. And you are being called to step over that line, into your power, into remembrance, before it's too late. Look around you. The signs are everywhere. People feel more alone than ever before, yet they're surrounded by connection. Children born with light in their eyes are being numbed before they can speak. Leaders don't lead. Healers are silenced, and pain has become normalized. Archangel Michael says this is not by accident. This is war, spiritual war, and you are living inside it. But most don't even know it's happening. Most are hypnotized, scrolling, consuming, distracted by the illusion, sleeping while their soul screams. And if you're watching this now, it means you've begun to stir. You're hearing the call. You're seeing the cracks. You're sensing something deeper. And that means you are not like the others. You are part of the few, the remembering ones. But there's danger in remembering, because once you do, you can't go back. Michael's message is this: there are forces that do not want you to remember. There are energies that benefit when you stay numb, confused, and asleep. When you forget your light, you become easy to manipulate. When you silence your intuition, you become programmable. And when you deny your divinity, you become vulnerable to darkness. This is the game. But now, you're learning the rules, and Michael is giving you your first sword, discernment. He says, test every voice you hear, including your own. Not all thoughts are yours. Not all feelings are truth. Not all signs are from the light. You must learn to feel beyond logic, see beyond appearances, trust what resonates, even when it contradicts the world, because the world is not what it seems. There are layers upon layers of deception, lies disguised as facts, control disguised as freedom, noise masquerading as wisdom, but your soul knows the truth. It always has, that flicker of intuition, that tightness in your chest when something feels wrong, that pull toward the unseen. That's your internal compass. That's Michael tapping on your spirit, saying you're not crazy, you're remembering. But there is risk. When you remember, the old version of you begins to fall apart. Your attachments shatter, relationships shift, jobs no longer fit, emotions surge, and the life you built on forgetfulness begins to collapse. That's why so many stop here. They hear the call but turn back, afraid of the cost. But the truth, the cost of not remembering is far greater. The real danger is staying asleep. Michael says, if you do not rise, the system will swallow you. You'll live, but never truly be alive. You'll function, but never thrive. You'll exist, but never ignite. And that's not why you came here. You were born for more, and you know it. You've always known it. That's why you're still watching. You're not addicted to videos like this. You're starving for truth. And this space, this channel, is a rare doorway, one of the few left uncorrupted, a safe harbor for your soul, not because of the creator behind it, but because of the energy it holds, an agreement made in light, to protect and awaken. And when you return here, you're not just clicking a video, you're stepping back into alignment, into sanctuary. Michael says, many will come to this channel for peace, but only the brave will stay for the transformation. Because transformation is not comfortable, it's not aesthetic, it's raw, emotional, messy, but it's holy, and it's yours. He urges you to stay connected, to protect this space, to subscribe, not as a follower, but as a guardian of light, one who honors their journey, one who refuses to go back to sleep, one who holds this message close and guards it with reverence. For in a world full of noise, clarity is sacred. In a world full of fear, truth is power. The darkness is getting louder, yes, but so is the light, and you are the light. Every time you remember, you weaken the system. Every time you speak truth, you ripple change. Every time you return here, you anchor higher frequencies into your field. You're not just consuming content. You're restoring consciousness. You are healing timelines. You are lifting lineage. And you are doing it with every word you feel in your bones right now. This is not entertainment. This is initiation, a moment that will echo through the rest of your life. So don't take this warning lightly. The spiritual war is real, but so is the victory, and the choice. It's always yours. You can forget again, or you can rise. You can numb out, or tune in. You can scroll away, or stay here and evolve. There's no punishment, just consequence. Not from the heavens, but from your own soul. Michael is not trying to scare you. He's trying to wake you. And sometimes the only way to wake someone is to shake them. You've been shaken. Now it's time to choose. The timeline you walk next will depend on what you believe, what you seek, and what you honor. Choose wisely. Choose with courage. And above all, choose with your heart, because the heart never forgets the truth. It only waits for you to be still enough to hear it again. And when you do, you'll realize you've never been alone. You've sensed it, felt it in moments you couldn't explain, seen it in the corners of your reality. Something off, something hidden. You've walked through this world as if blindfolded, yet your soul kept whispering, this isn't all there is. And it's not. What you were taught to call life was a carefully constructed illusion. The dark truth. This reality is rigged. Not by chance, not by nature, but by design. A design meant to disconnect you from yourself, from others, and most of all, from the divine. From birth, you were fed lies. Lies that you are small, that you must obey to survive, that your worth comes from your productivity, that love is something to earn, that freedom is dangerous, that intuition is irrational. lies so persistent, so normalized, that most never question them. They just adapt, blend in, survive. But survival isn't living, and adaptation isn't awakening. Archangel Michael wants you to know, this system was never built for your liberation. It was built to contain you, to trap your light, to make you forget. We are not living in a neutral world. We are walking through a spiritual battlefield masked as daily life. Every billboard, every screen, every false idol of success whispers the same message. Forget who you are. They don't want your soul awake, because a soul that remembers cannot be controlled. Why do you think so many awakenings begin with pain? Why does spiritual growth often feel like grief? It's because you're not just discovering truth. You're mourning everything false you were taught to believe. You're shedding programming, generational trauma, collective illusions, and the deeper you go, the more you begin to see everything you were told to fear was designed to keep you in a cage. The truth is, we've been raised in a kind of spiritual captivity, and yet we call it normal. We glorify hustle culture while burning out our bodies. We celebrate numbness while shaming emotion. We worship outer beauty while starving our spirits. We say we're advanced, but can't even sit with silence. And behind all of it there are forces, yes, real forces, that feed on this forgetfulness. Michael calls them the harvesters. Not demons in the Hollywood sense, not devils with pitchforks. Far more subtle, energies, entities, frequencies that thrive in chaos, that grow stronger in fear, confusion, division. They don't need to possess you. They just need you to remain distracted, addicted, disempowered, because the moment you step into your light, they lose power. That's why awakening feels like resistance, because it is. But here's what they didn't expect. You, still here, still watching, still remembering, because the truth cannot be buried forever. No matter how deep the programming runs, the divine blueprint in your soul cannot be deleted. It can only be ignored. But the moment you begin to seek, it begins to stir. And the more you return to this message, to this space, to this channel, the louder it becomes. Not because you're being brainwashed, but because you're finally being deprogrammed. And yes, it hurts. There's rage. There's sadness. There's disbelief. How could so many live asleep for so long? How could a world so full of light be led into darkness? But then, you remember. This is why you came. You are not here to be saved. You are here to be the awakening. You are here to unplug, not just for yourself, but for those around you, for your children, for your ancestors, for your soul group, for the collective. You are the interruption, the breaker of chains. Michael urges you to stop looking for the truth out there. The truth is in here, in this space, this channel. It's a mirror, a spiritual echo chamber for those who are finally ready to see. Every word you hear is a reflection of what your soul already knows, that you were never meant to settle, that your power is sacred, that your emotions are divine, that your light was never meant to fit inside a system built on shadows. They told you to doubt yourself, to silence your intuition, to laugh at people who believed in energy or spiritual realms. But ask yourself if those things were so silly. Why have they worked so hard to bury them? Because the moment you reconnect with your source, you become dangerous, not in the violent sense, but in the revolutionary sense. You begin to radiate authenticity. You inspire without effort. You break generational patterns by breathing differently. You begin to speak words that make people feel seen. This world fears authenticity because it can't be marketed, it can't be tamed. And you, remembering who you are, is their greatest threat. That's why you're attacked when you change. Why friends grow distant. Why the old life begins to crumble. Because the matrix doesn't lose you quietly. It tries to pull you back. But Archangel Michael reminds you resistance is proof you're moving in the right direction. Keep going. This awakening, it's not a phase. It's a soul revolution. And every time you visit this channel, You are choosing to evolve rather than escape. You are not just a viewer. You are part of a movement. A field of light anchored across the world through people like you. Souls who were born for this moment in history. Not to preach, not to convert, but to remember, and by remembering, remind others. You will not find this energy in mass media. You will not find this clarity in the noise. You will not find this peace in the systems that feed on fear. But you will find it here. In this channel. In this message. In this vibration. That's why it feels like home. Because in a way it is. And still, there's more. The deeper truth is this. You are the system breaker. You are the sacred code hidden inside this corrupted world. You are the quiet revolution happening in real time, and your only job is to keep remembering. Keep choosing light, keep choosing depth over distraction, truth over popularity, presence over performance. The world doesn't need another trend. It needs truth. It needs you. So now, you know, the truth is darker than you were told, but so is the light brighter than you imagined. And the more you align with it, the more unstoppable you become. This isn't a warning to scare you. It's a wake-up call to empower you, to help you remember that even in the darkest illusion, the truth still lives inside your chest. Breathe. Pause. Close your eyes. Feel that fire. It's been waiting. And it's ready. The veil is thinner now. The call is louder. The mission clearer. And the message is this. You were born to break the spell. There's a kind of pain you don't talk about, the kind that sits quietly in your chest, showing up at the most unexpected times, when everything seems fine, but something still aches. When you laugh at a joke, but your eyes feel heavy. When you're surrounded by people, but feel completely alone. That's not sadness. That's your soul trying to speak. We've all been taught to silence it. To stay busy, to smile, to say we're fine, to carry on. But beneath the surface, there's something ancient and unspoken, the inner cry of the soul. It doesn't sound like screaming. It sounds like silence. It feels like numbness. Disconnection. The slow erosion of meaning. And you know this feeling intimately, don't you? You've gone through things you never fully processed. Hurts you couldn't explain. You've had nights where you stared at the ceiling, asking questions that had no words. You've collapsed in bathrooms. Cried in silence. Faked strength. Given more than you had. And somewhere in that journey, you forgot what it meant to feel safe just being you. Archangel Michael sees that, and he wants you to know, nothing you've endured has been invisible. Not to him. Not to the divine. And certainly not to your own soul. Your soul remembers every time you held yourself through the storm. Every time you stayed when it would have been easier to run. Every time you chose love. Even after betrayal. Every time you got back up. But still the weight remains. The exhaustion. The pressure to be okay. The guilt for not feeling better. The spiritual path can be incredibly lonely. Not because something is wrong with you, but because you are leaving behind everything that was never real. The ego, the masks, the coping. You are shedding identities. And yes, it hurts. That ache in your chest is grief. The grief of losing a version of you that was never free. The grief of waking up in a world where others are still asleep. The grief of realizing that much of what you once chased was never love, never truth, never real safety. And now, you're raw, sensitive, open, vulnerable. And while the world might see that as weakness, Archangel Michael says, this is your rebirth. To feel so deeply is not a curse. It's a power, a sacred one. It means your heart still works, that your soul hasn't given up, that despite all the trauma, you still care, and in a world numbed by distraction. That's rare. That's holy. That's strength. So many people feel this way but never admit it. They walk through life in pain but call it stress. They feel empty but fill the void with screens and noise. They stay in relationships that hurt them, jobs that drain them, habits that cage them, just to avoid the silence. Because in silence, The soul speaks, and the soul is honest. Your soul doesn't care about your image, your achievements, your timelines, your social media, your bank account, your followers. It cares about alignment. It wants truth, peace, meaning, rest, real connection, the kind that makes your chest soften, the kind that makes your nervous system exhale, the kind that makes you feel like maybe you're not so alone after all. That's what this channel is meant to be, a space where your soul can exhale, where you're not just a username, a watcher, a number. You are a sacred being on a sacred journey. And every time you listen to messages like these, you are giving your inner self permission to exist again, to be held, to be felt, to be known. You don't need fixing. You need feeling. You need remembering. And you need safe mirrors, spaces that reflect your light back to you when you forget. That's what this is. That's why your soul keeps pulling you back here. It knows this is one of the few places where it can breathe without armor. Michael wants you to stop pretending you're fine. He says, the strongest souls cry in secret, and their tears water the seeds of awakening. If you've cried while watching this, you're not weak. You're healing. You're dissolving lifetimes of suppression in a moment of truth. And that's not small. That's massive. The inner cry of your soul isn't something to fix. It's something to listen to. It's asking you to slow down, to stop abandoning yourself, to stop chasing things that never fill you, to come home, to your breath, to your body, to your being, because that pain is sacred, that ache is alive, and that sadness is not the end. It's the beginning. It means you're still here, still feeling, still brave enough to want more. And that matters more than you know. It means you're not numb. And if you're not numb, you're not lost. You're just in the in-between, the sacred space between forgetting and remembering. You are in the middle of the unraveling, and that, beloved, is a holy place. This is the quiet moment before rebirth, the deep inhale before you rise. So don't rush it, don't label it, don't shame it. Feel it. And when the world is too loud, return here. This space, this channel, will hold you in ways you didn't even know you needed, because you deserve a place where your soul doesn't have to hide. After the breaking, after the grief, after the ache, there comes a moment when your soul softly whispers, come back, not to the chaos, not to the masks, but to the light, to the divine, to you. This is that moment. Breathe. You've spent so much of your life reaching outward, looking for love, approval, guidance, peace, in everything and everyone else. But the truth has always been within you, beneath the noise, beneath the programming, beneath the pain. There's a sacred well inside you that never stopped shining. It's the part of you that never forgot, that always remembered, that always knew you are divine. Not someday, not when you're perfect, but now, as you are, even in your mess. Especially in your mess, because God does not dwell in your achievements. God lives in your surrender. The divine doesn't demand your performance. It waits for your return. And right now, in this moment, you are being invited back. Not to a religion, not to a structure, but to relationship, a personal, soul-deep connection with the infinite presence that has never left your side. Call it God, Source, Light, the universe. It doesn't matter. What matters is that your soul recognizes it. And maybe, just maybe, you're beginning to feel it again. That warmth in your chest. That subtle peace rising from your belly. That quiet yes you can't explain. That is divine presence. Archangel Michael says this presence has always been near. Watching, protecting, waiting. It never left you. Not when you doubted. Not when you screamed. Not when you lost your way. Because true love never abandons. And you, beloved, are infinitely loved. You've carried shame for so long. Shame for not doing enough. For falling short. For being too sensitive. For not fitting in. But the divine doesn't see what the world sees. It sees you. The real you. the soul underneath the survival, the purity beneath the pain, the light beneath the lies, and it calls you whole, not in the future but now. Reconnection is not something you earn. It's something you remember, and when you remember, you realign, your breath becomes prayer. Your tears become offerings, your stillness becomes sanctuary, and your life becomes a temple. You've already begun. By being here, by listening, by feeling, every second you spend in truth is a step back to God, not the distant God of punishment and fear, but the real God of intimacy and freedom, the one who meets you in your darkness, the one who celebrates your light, the one who whispers, "You are not alone." This is not fantasy. This is home, and your soul has longed to return. You don't need grand rituals to reconnect. You don't need to fix your life first. Just be willing. Be soft. Be still. Sit in silence and say, "I'm ready." And then listen, not with your ears, but with your heart. You'll feel it, a sacred hum, a warmth, a presence. That's the divine. Not rushing, not scolding, just embracing. And when you find this presence, you begin to change, not because you're forced to, but because you're loved into transformation. Gently, powerfully, naturally. This is not about being perfect. It's about being real. The divine doesn't need your perfection. It wants your presence, your attention, your yes. And every time you give it, even for one breath, the entire universe shifts to meet you. That's what this channel is for. Not just messages or motivation, but reconnection. A space where the divine frequency can reach you clearly, where your soul can bathe in truth, where peace is not a concept, but a lived experience. The more you return, the more you remember. The more you remember, the more you rise. Every return is a blessing. Every view a realignment. Every time you come back here, you are not consuming. You are communing with God, with your soul, with something sacred that this world can't offer, and that is priceless. So breathe again. Inhale grace. Exhale fear. Inhale peace. Exhale shame. You are safe. You are seen. You are safe. You are safe. You are home. I have one final thing to say. Archangel Michael speaks, not with thunder, but with a depth that stills everything inside you. And I need you to hear it, not with your ears, but with your soul. The time for delay is over. The time for doubt, distraction, and denial is done. Your soul came here for a reason, and while you've wandered, while you've struggled, while you've questioned everything, you are now standing at the very edge of the life you were born to live. Michael says, this is not a rehearsal. This is the moment. You don't need to be more ready. You don't need to be more healed. You just need to say yes. Not to a guru, not to a system, but to your soul, to your light, to the divine plan that has been calling you home through every whisper, every ache, every tear. Too many are waiting, waiting for signs, waiting for certainty, waiting for permission. But Michael is giving you this message so you understand. The sign is this moment, and the permission, it was always yours to give. He says, you are not here to be like the others. You are not here to fit in. You are not here to repeat patterns. You are here to awaken timelines, to break spells, to carry frequencies this planet has not felt in centuries. And yes, the path will stretch you. Yes, it will cost you the comfort of who you used to be. But what you gain is everything. Freedom, alignment, divine connection, soul-led living, the kind of peace the world cannot fake, the kind of clarity no algorithm can sell you. You will begin to see with new eyes, feel with deeper intuition, move from sacred guidance. Speak truth into spaces where silence once reigned. You will become a living lighthouse. Not because you're perfect, but because you remembered. This world needs lighthouses now. Not louder voices, not prettier lies, just anchored souls. Real ones, honest ones, people like you who've seen the darkness and chose light anyway. People who return to spaces like this not for entertainment, but because something here keeps them alive. Michael wants you to know, this channel isn't just another video on your feed. It's an altar, a light tower in a fog of confusion, a frequency keeper in a world built on noise. And every time you return to it, you're making an unspoken agreement to keep walking the path, to stay awake, to protect your frequency, to rise. He says, tell them to stay close. Tell them to protect this energy. Tell them to guard the gateways of truth. Because the battle is not over. It's only just begun. You will be tested. Not to punish you, but to reveal you, to refine your courage, to confirm your remembering. But you won't be alone. You'll be guided, strengthened, supported. And when the world grows louder, you will have this space. You will have this voice. You will have this light, this sacred digital temple that exists not to distract you but to bring you back to you. Michael's plea is not to scare you. It is to remind you that you are divine, that your presence here is part of a larger design, that your pain is not a punishment, it's a portal, and that your remembering is not a coincidence. It's prophecy. You were born for this shift, this timeline, this truth. And now that you've remembered, you cannot go back. You were never meant to. You are here to walk forward, with faith, with fire, with grace. The veil is thin now. The spiritual climate is shifting. More are waking, but more are also being pulled back into sleep. Every moment you stay awake, you hold the line for countless others. You becoming whole heals more than just your story. It echoes through time, through bloodlines, through the unseen. Let this be the moment you choose. Let this be the message you never forget. Let this channel be your sacred checkpoint, your divine mirror, your place of peace. Because the next steps won't be easy, but they'll be true, and truth is what your soul came here for. So breathe one more time. Place your hand on your heart and whisper, I remember, because you do. You've made it here for a reason. Through every word, every pause, every breath, something inside you has been shifting, not because of me, not because of a voice, but because your soul is ready. You're not the same person who pressed play. You've remembered too much, felt too deeply, seen too clearly, and now the only path left is forward. This isn't the end of a video. It's the beginning of a new alignment. Your energy has changed. Your field has expanded. Your frequency has risen. But to integrate this shift, you must choose it again, and again, and again. Because transformation is not a moment, it's a movement, a decision made daily to live awake in a sleeping world. And I want to remind you, you don't have to do this alone. This channel exists for you. For every moment you feel overwhelmed, for every time you forget the truth, for every time the world tries to pull you back into numbness, fear or noise, come back here. Return to this space. Let it recenter you, refill you, realign you. Every video is crafted not to entertain, but to awaken. Every word, a mirror. Every message, a remembrance. The content here is more than content. It's a frequency, and your soul knows it. That's why it feels like home. So if you feel that, trust it. Let this be your sanctuary. A space of resonance. A place where you don't need to explain your sensitivity, your hunger for truth, your desire to live from soul, not ego. Let this be where you remember, each time you forget. And let this be your sacred checkpoint as you walk this path of light. Michael says, the ones who stay connected are the ones who grow fastest. The ones who return often are the ones who evolve the deepest, because every return is a recommitment. Not to me, but to you, to your soul, to your calling, and to the divine. Let this message stay with you. Let it ripple into your day, your choices, your emotions. Let it live in your breath, in your moments of stillness, and let it become your compass when you feel lost, because you won't always feel strong. You won't always feel certain, but you will always have access to this truth, if you choose to return to it. So if your heart feels open, if your chest feels calm, if your spirit is whispering yes, honor that. Subscribe to this space, not just with a click, but with your intention. Subscribe with your presence, your energy, your desire to keep remembering, because what you're building here is not a playlist. It's a practice, a sacred rhythm of remembrance. Let this practice root into your life. Watch again when needed. Share this with someone whose soul is aching. Keep this channel close. Treat it like medicine, because in a world that pulls you in 100 directions, this may be the one that leads you home. And if no one else tells you this today, let me say it now. I am proud of you. Michael is proud of you. The divine is walking beside you. You are seen. You are sacred. You are needed. Breathe one last time. Softly. Intentionally. You remember. You are ready. You are not alone.